Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday night edition of the Around the Ropes radio show. I'm riding solo tonight because unfortunately Ray can't be here. But guys, don't worry because we still got a lot of wrestling to talk about tonight. As always, you guys can find us on Facebook. We're on Instagram. You can find us, subscribe to us, all that good stuff. Guys, we have a lot of stuff to get to tonight. But before we get into that, I have to announce also we have two phenomenal guests joining us. Coming up at 8:30. From AEW, yes, guys, I am not kidding you when I say this. From AEW, the one, the only, Nyla Rose joins us. And yeah, that is incredible that we get to have Nyla Rose on for a little bit tonight. It's actually come to, if you think about the history of the show and where the show came from, don't mind me, I'm just sharing the show so we can have people watch the show. See, that's how this works, people. Just bear with me 2 seconds here. But guys, again, if you find us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, all that good stuff here. Just bear with me 30 seconds here. I'm just trying to share this out because also coming up tonight at 9:20. Yes, guys, we have two guests tonight, so it's going to be a lot of stuff. From Flex Wrestling, ahead of his match with Chael Connors, Mike Skyros returns to the show. So it'll be nice to catch up with Mike again, especially after the promo he cut last week. Yeah, he said some things that I definitely want to address with him on, but we also have your fallout from Clash in Paris, which I want to ask you guys, and this will be the theme throughout the night. What do you guys think of the show overall? Because personally, I'm going to be honest. I personally thought it was good for the most part. Yeah, it was good for the most part. Hang tight 1 second. Here. I mean, it was good for the most part. I will definitely say that much. It was good for the most part. I thought there was a couple of matches that I felt could have been on Raw that I think didn't need the pay-per-view, the PLE spot, sorry. We can't call it pay-per-view anymore, I forgot. But you can't. And the first match that I still say I thought was really, really bad, and I hate to say because she just messaged me on Facebook, the Nikki Bella match. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's Nikki just has ring rust. I don't know what it is, but good Lord, that match was not good at all. And I'm not blaming Nikki. I mean, yes, granted, Nikki has not been in the ring in a while, but I don't know what it was about that match. And as far as Becky goes, I mean, her heel run, I'm not too sure about it. To me, it feels a little forced. It feels a little shoved down our throats, so to speak. It feels very much, how do I say this in the nicest way possible? It feels very not there, if you catch my drift. And it feels very, like I said, it's tough to, because be honest, I can't really figure out what it is with her right now. I cannot figure it out for the life of me. And I don't know with her, with Becky. I mean, granted, yeah, we saw later on she got involved in the main event when her husband there, her hot husband, Seth Rollins, was involved in the Fatal 4-Way between him, Jey Uso, LA Knight, and CM Punk. And if they couldn't make it any clearer about what we're getting in a couple of weeks at WrestlePalooza, I mean, you kind of saw the hints there on Saturday for the show, and then you kind of saw it last night on Monday Night Raw, especially when Punk turns around to Adam Pearce and says, "Where's SmackDown this Friday?" And Pearce is like, "Chicago," and Punk goes, "Tremendous." I know there's a lot of scuttlebutt who people think it's going to be Rhea Ripley. I doubt it's going to be Rhea. I can't see it not being AJ at this point. And I think now is the perfect time. How do I say this? You can almost sit there and say that the stars aligned, I guess is the best way I can phrase it, for this. And the stars basically aligned that, let's be honest. If we don't see what's her face, AJ Lee, on Friday night when they're in Chicago, I don't think we're ever going to see her back in the WWE ring. A good friend of ours, David, chimes in here, goes, I keep hearing her referred to as Becky Hogan due to her being rammed down our throats, LOL. I don't know if I would call her Becky Hogan per se. I don't know if I get this whole thing with her right now. I can't figure it out, unfortunately. But I thought that match was the weakest of the week. Yes, obviously we kind of saw what led to it, the main event, as Becky Lynch is now, according to reports now, is listed as the fourth member of the Vision. So it'll be very curious to see how this plays off. Let's be honest. This whole Vision thing has not really, I don't know, it's really tough to tell. It's really tough to tell because a part of it is, like I said, I don't know where I was going with that. I kind of rambled on that for a second. But guys, like I said, if you're watching us right now, thank you for watching us right now. We do have two phenomenal guests joining us at the bottom of the hour. Nyla Rose joins us from AEW. It'll be nice to have her on, just shoot the breeze a little bit. And then, like I said before, at 9:20, we will be joined by the one and only. Is this the right one? Nope, wrong one. Sorry. I got a lot of pictures here. Where'd it go? Hold on. There we go. Okay. That one. Chael Connors, Mike Skyros. Mike Skyros will join us at 9:20. Let's get back to the busy comment section. And David chimes in here again and goes, it looks like we may be getting AJ Lee returning possibly at, yeah, David, that's what I was kind of hinting at before. I think if we don't see her at SmackDown this week, and we don't see her at WrestlePalooza on September 20th, I can't see her coming back at that point. Because I think that, as I said before, the stars have aligned. And you look at, the rest of the card. Granted, you have Bronson and Roman, which that match was good. I disagree with the fact that Roman won. I get, let me backtrack for a second. I get why Roman won, because Roman had to set up the beatdown at the end to write him off of TV. But we were talking about this last week on the show, and I said, me and Ray both said it, you can go back and listen. Bronson needed that win. And because how can you take this group, the Vision, whatever that's called, seriously? And David chimes in here, going back to the AJ Lee stuff. He says, if she does come back, I feel it won't be for long. I don't know, David. I don't know, unfortunately. Granted, yeah, I think if she comes back, she'll be a part of WrestlePalooza. But I don't know if that means that it's going to be a one-off. Because, look at the returns we've had recently. I thought they were all going to be one-offs, and they weren't. So, I don't know. I seriously don't know. But guys, like David, you can keep the comments coming in. I'll be reading them. That's how you guys can interact with us. Like I said, guys, Nyla Rose joins us at 8:30. Mike Skyros at 9:20. And guys, in a few minutes, we're actually going to air we're going to debut a brand new segment on the show. And Ray and I were kind of joking about this last week with Mr. Kevin Wilson there. And we weren't sure if he was actually going to do it. But guys, I actually have it in our archives ready to go. The debut of the Wilson's Corner. And what he will talk about, you have to wait and see. So that's coming up in a couple of minutes. But guys, again, keep the conversation going. Let us know what you think. Right now, we're talking about WWE Clash in Paris. As, like I said, it was on Saturday, the last show on Peacock. Well, let me rephrase that. It's not the last. It's the last PLE, main roster PLE on Peacock, because obviously we know it's going to jump to ESPN when they move to on September 20th. What I'm curious to though, and I was talking about this with a few people, and I want to bring this up. What do you have close out that show? Because I mean, right now we only have one match confirmed, and the one match that's confirmed it's Stephanie Vacquier versus Io Sky for the vacant women's title. You know you're not going to close out with that match. The matches that are being hinted at are Drew and Cody, Cena and Brock, the mixed tag. And obviously, then, like I said, then you have the confirmed one. As far as what do I have to close out the show, I wouldn't have Cody and Drew. I would not have Cody and Drew. And I've said this for a while now. I am a firm believer that you don't always have to close out a show with a title. And I know you're going to get wrestling purists and wrestling fans who are going to sit there and say, but John, the title should always close out the show. It's the biggest part of the company. Yes, but as I've been saying on the show for the last 3 years, yes, a match is great, don't get me wrong, but a story is what's going to drive people. And I said this 3 years ago on the show. You can go back and watch it, actually. When Punk made his return to AEW and they were about to do All Out in Chicago, and Punk was set to take on Darby Allin. And I think it was Christian taking on Kenny Omega, I think, for the AEW title. And I said on the show that I thought CM Punk and Darby should have closed out that show. I think for WrestlePalooza, I think you have to close with that mixed tag match. Because you gotta, it's the first time we're seeing, it's a dream match, first of all. It's the first time we're getting AJ Lee in, God, 10 years, if not more. I think the stars are aligned. But on the flip side, if I'm AEW, because we all know that's the same day as All Out, what do I counter WWE with? Very simple. I would love to see it. I'm going to go to Joseph. I'm going to go to your comment in 1 second. I would love to close out All Out. Not a title match. No. I wouldn't do Hangman versus MJF. No. The match I would close out All Out with, if you want to count the program WWE, is very simple. Cope and Christian, FTR. You want to have people, and especially that one, you also have to remember, AEW is going to be on, they're doing that one through HBO. So you're going to have a real interesting situation here. But let me go to the comment that Joseph said. Joseph says, here's something weird. Sammy on SmackDown now. A couple months back, Paul Heyman asked Sammy to go to SmackDown. Yeah, it's definitely weird. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with him on SmackDown, to say the least. But why don't we do this now? Did I miss a comment? Nope, I didn't miss a comment here. Okay. Let's do it again. Son of a bitch. Sorry. Let's do this, guys. We're going to cut to Wilson's Corner right now. And when we come back, I want to dive a little bit more into this whole streaming issue, because you guys are going to hear Mr. Wilson, and then we're going to talk about it. Again, you are listening or watching Around the Ropes on YouTube and Facebook, or you're catching us on Odyssey, Spotify, Apple, wherever you catch your podcasts. We'll be right back right after this. Mr. Wilson, take it away.
Hello, welcome to Wilson's Corner with me, Kevin Wilson. Remember me? Hi. Okay, so all this streaming stuff that's going on right now with WWE, Netflix in January, Peacock's still a thing, and now the partnership with ESPN to go and broadcast all of the WWE PLEs, or pay-per-views in my mind because I'm old. It's gotten to a very ridiculous point. I'm kind of getting sick of this streaming stuff in general because it's just all costing way too much, and especially for wrestling fans nowadays. Like, when's enough going to be enough? When are we finally going to stand up and go, yep, nope, I'm done, see you later, I'm going to go back to the Pirate Bay or, something else, I don't know. But do you remember when they broadcast the WWE Network for the first time, when they put that out there? It was $10 a month, $9.99 a month. They kept peddling it every chance they got. JBL saying for $9.99 a month. Michael Cole saying for $9.99 a month. Jerry Lawler saying it. Everybody went and said for $9.99 a month you can go and have the WWE Network. You can have every single pay-per-view, every single bit of content. And it stayed at that $10 a month. It was great. I loved it. Yeah, they got bought by Peacock, and the network migrated over there. And it was, I haven't really had any issues with Peacock at all since they've migrated over. It's been good. It cost me, now it's going to be $17 a month for the ad-free version. But at $10, $11 now for the ad-supported, it's really not bad to be on Peacock. But now in the latest bit with ESPN's direct-to-consumer app, where it's totally 100% free if you sign up with your cable provider. However, there's a few that don't have it right now. If you have DirecTV, if you have Xfinity, if you have Hulu, Live TV, congratulations, you get the ESPN direct-to-consumer app for free. It's completely covered because you're good with your cable provider. Me, on the other hand, I got YouTube TV. I'm kind of SOL. Take it from me. YouTube TV for cable, so I can, realistically, it's to watch football. That's about it. But that's $83 a month. And on top of that, if you go and take Netflix, they got 3 different price tiers. You got the $8 ad-supported, then you got an $18 and a $25. I personally have the $25, but let's say I'm going to knock it down to the $18. So that's $18 a month, on top of the $83 a month. Then you got Peacock, which, for me, let's knock that one down. That's now $11 a month. Add on the $30 a month ESPN app because it's not covered under my cable provider of YouTube TV. I'm now looking at $142 a month just to be able to go and watch WWE programming every week. Between Netflix, Monday Night Raw on Mondays, between NXT PLEs on Peacock, all the content that is currently still on Peacock of older shows and older promotions and older everything. And now I've got to go and add a completely new app to be able to go and watch a WWE PLE. Like, it's getting ridiculous at this point. I just needed to go and get that off of my chest about this whole streaming situation. It's just patently ridiculous that I gotta now pay almost $150 a month just to be able to watch pro wrestling. It almost sounds like, hey, remember when cable was about $150 a month and then it was the occasional $35 pay-per-view? That sounds like a dream. I'll be back next week with another riveting edition of Wilson's Corner with me, Kevin Wilson. And remember, folks, just like musician Brent Smith once said, this isn't goodbye, it's just see you next time.
Again, thank you, Kevin, for that very riveting thing. But he makes a lot of valid points. I mean, we see it now with how much prices have gone up. But we'll get back to the comments here in a second because I see Joseph has a few comments here. What we were talking about beforehand. And when you look at, you look at this whole streaming stuff, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. But the issue is with how everything is getting expensive now. And let's call a spade here. Everything is expensive now. It's not fair that, you have to spend almost $200 just to stream a pay-per-view or a PLE. Sorry, let's call a spade here, because it's not a pay-per-view. It's a premium live event. We know, but still, you shouldn't have to splurge. I mean, granted, I know I complain a lot about AEW, but at least AEW is not. It's $50 for a pay-per-view, but I think now, from what I'm hearing now, it's going to be discounted through HBO Max. So it's going to definitely be something to check out. And guys, again, you can catch the Wilson's Corner every week right here on the Round the Ropes Radio Show. Or if you missed it, you can go back, because starting this week, the Wilson's Corner will also be its own podcast segment as well. Again, guys, we are on all the podcast streaming sites. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on iHeart. We're on Odyssey. Obviously, Odyssey through Backstage Radio Network and all that stuff. But definitely go check that out. While we got a few minutes here before our guest joins us, I just want to go quickly, because last night we debuted a brand new show on the network called the Battleground War Room. Now, what does that mean exactly? Basically, it means we're going to be diving into Battleground Championship Wrestling every week. And I know the next show is coming up on October 25th, live from the 2300 Arena, but we do have some matches that are announced. And for a few minutes, I'm just going to go over matches that we have announced so far. For the BCW World Championship, Crowbar takes on Gangrel. We're also going to see in action Drake Younger, who is your BCW Philadelphia Street Fight Champion, taking on Shane Mercer. Followed up by that, we have Blackout taking on the 80s dynamic team of the Powers of Pain. Also, we will have in action Masada taking on Too Cold Scorpio. Phil Insane takes on Matt Tremont in a Halloween House of Horrors match. And just announced moments ago, Alvin Alvarez takes on ECW legend Danny Doran. Guys, again, it all goes down October 25th, 7:30 start time, live from the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you're not in the Philly area but you still want to watch it, you can catch Battleground Championship Wrestling on all social medias, but also you can catch them on Triller. I actually right now can make the announcement here, and then, like I said, we'll go back to the comments here in 1 second. There's no graphic yet, but there probably will be a graphic coming out next week, or maybe out already. I'm not sure, but there will be a pre-show for this one, and that will be hosted by yours truly. Yes, guys, I'm making my return to the Battleground Championship Wrestling building, also known as 2300 Arena, on October 25th to host the pre-show for this show. So I appreciate Tim for giving me this opportunity, and I can't wait to be back down there. Also coming up in a couple of weeks, we also have Flex Wrestling coming up. Let's go through that card quickly as well, since we're going over cards here. Maddock, who we had on the show a couple of days ago, takes on former ECW superstar Colin Delaney. Chael Connors, sorry, Chael, takes on our second guest tonight, Mike Skyros. Followed up by that, TJ Epics takes on Carmelo Lee. HC Loke takes on Price Pure Gold. And in tag team action, Johnny Cashmere and JP Grayson, also known as the New Backseats, takes on one of the more prolific tag teams in the upstate area in High Seas. So again, that all goes down September 26th. Not sure yet exactly how they're going to stream it, but definitely check out Flex Wrestling for all of your info on it. And while we're going over independent wrestling right now, I want to touch briefly. I didn't get a chance, unfortunately, to put the graphics in, but I want to touch briefly here on Brie Combination, because we are a few weeks out from the Grand Rumble, and there is quite a few matches announced. All right, so just bear with me 2 seconds here. Let's see here. As of now, we know entering the Rumble will be Daniel Alexander, Cha-Cha Charlie, Intern Jerry, and Becca Wiley. Also, we'll have in action the All-Father, Darius Carter, takes on Kelsey Reagan. Now, can Kelsey pull off the impossible? And arguably one of the greatest runs we've ever seen in breed combination history. I say this every time. Darius has basically been the champion since I have been basically a fan of breed combination and since I've been working with them. We also have other names announced for the Rumble. We have Ivy Malibu, Johnny Rambo, Ace Andrews, Adonis Stone, and I think also we also have the greatest match of all time happening in a Lower East Side street fight. AJ Pan takes on Cheyenne Ortiz. Yes, guys, if you know, you know. Also, Riley Shepard is returning to the commentary table. Also, some other names that are being mentioned are Vinny Pacifico, Betty Blanco, Danger, and D-Vibe. So definitely check out Breed Combination. Check out any independent wrestling. I keep saying that. Check out any independent wrestling you can. And because we talk about it constantly on the show. You go to independent wrestling and it's a hell of a lot cheaper. It is a hell of a lot cheaper. But like I said, guys, in a few minutes, we will be joined by the one and only Nyla Rose. Again, I want to thank Kevin Nasta from Damage 365 Promotions for getting this together. It is, like I said, it's an honor and a privilege, and it's insane. It's insane that in almost 4 years of running this show, we've had on a lot of big names. I mean, if you guys remember back in the beginning days, we had on the likes of Mark Henry, Barry Horowitz, Brett Azer. That's who's actually responsible for our original logo. We've also had on we've had plenty of independent wrestlers on. We've had also pretty much every ring announcer on. We've also had on Seth Turner from the Hall of Fame. We've also had on a couple of years ago, we actually had on Sean Kanan, who was an actor from Cobra Kai. But this is probably our biggest guest to date because she is still on TV. I mean, yes, granted, we haven't seen her on TV in a long time. So, I just want to make sure she is here. Because I just saw her pop in. Okay. All right, so I think we're doing... All right, guys. I want to welcome to the show now because she is here. She is your former AEW Women's Champion. I personally think she is one of the pillars of the women's division. Welcome to the show, the one and only Nyla Rose. Nyla, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you. You got me on straight away.
I'm very glad that we were able to get you on. First thing I want to get to before we get into with what's going on right now with AEW, what got you into wrestling?
I grew up as a fan watching with my grandmother, and I've just always been a fan of it. I've loved it my whole life, and I tried it out as a bit of a hobby, and from there I decided, I got positive feedback, and I decided to keep doing it, and here we are as a career.
Now, when you became a wrestling fan, did you ever think you were going to be signed to a major promotion like AEW?
No, never. And obviously, when I was a tiny tot, AEW was not a thing. That it wasn't on the map. It wasn't even thought of. But I always dreamed of being a part of something bigger. Once I figured this could be a career, it was always something I wanted to be a part of course. But no, I never thought it would actually happen. especially as my life took lots of twists and turns and all that, just never knowing where I was going to end up. And obviously how I came to be Nyla Rose, I was like, there's no way anybody would ever have any actual interest in me. So I'm fine with being on the independents. It's lovely here. The independents are the lifeblood of pro wrestling.
Well, I've been saying this for a while, and I agree with what you're saying. I've been saying this for a while now as a fan, that if it wasn't for independent wrestling, a lot of what you see now on TV wouldn't be happening.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Even dating back to the territory days, yeah? Those were your major promotions back then, but there were always smaller promotions on the outskirts of the territories. And that's where people would cut their teeth, as they say, and hone their craft. Then they would take it to your Smoky Mountain Wrestling or wherever have you. And then as times change and you've got your WCWs and your WWFs back then, the independents still were a major part of what was happening behind the scenes, so to say. And very much so now. They're in a way the new territories, I believe.
Oh, no, I've been saying, but I look at it, especially with a company like, let's say AEW, for example. So many of your colleagues became big on the independents.
Absolutely. It's where a lot of us proved our grit. We got in there, swam with the sharks, tried things out, honed our craft. Maybe something didn't work, but it was a really great way to workshop things in front of a live audience.
No, I can definitely get what you're saying with that, and people don't realize that. But I want to get back, to the early days of AEW. How did you? Who approached you about signing with them? Was it, can you just do like the early days?
Believe it or not, it was Kenny Omega.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I had just returned from a tour of Japan, and I had I believe it was, it might have been Twitter, but I had a direct message, and I 100% thought it was fake. I thought some of my friends were taking the piss. I thought they were just playing a joke on me, having a rib, and it turns out it really was Kenny Omega. We exchanged numbers. We had a conversation. He told me what was on the forefront of things as much as he could, without, spilling all the beans. I'm sure there was some amount of secrecy there, but he told me as much as he could. I said, hey, no pun intended, but I'm all in. And the next thing you know, I'm on an airplane out to Las Vegas. I got to meet Brandy, Cody. Eventually, I met Tony Khan. I don't believe I met him that very evening, but eventually I did. And the rest, as they say, is history.
What was that like? Obviously, when you met Tony Khan for the first time, what was that like for the first time?
It felt oddly familiar. He's such a lovable guy, and his passion for pro wrestling is second to none, truly. He felt like I was catching up with an old friend. As silly as that might sound, here I am meeting this guy who's going to be my boss, a billionaire who owns several sports teams, American football, Fulham in England, and now running a professional wrestling company. And for me to sit here and say, oh, it's like meeting an old friend, it really was. He was so approachable. He was so genuine and just caring.
No, I definitely have heard that a lot over the last couple of years with Tony Khan. And obviously you won the AEW Women's title off of Riho. You were the second woman to win it. Take us through what it was like, when you won the title and they told you, okay, you're going to go on the run. Because I personally remember watching when you had that title initially. And I felt like you could have done a lot more. What was it like going through your head knowing that you were going to become the second woman to hold that title?
It was unbelievable. I never thought I would be in a major pro wrestling company. And now to be told that I'm going to essentially be the face of the division, representing the company as a whole, it was absolutely unbelievable. I was beside myself. I did not think it was real. I was asking everyone to pinch me. But it was a true honor. And I hope that things can return to that at some point in the near future. Unfortunately, we had the pandemic shortly after I won the title, so did not get to. I think I had one defense at Revolution against Chris Statlander, who is an amazing talent. She absolutely deserves the world, and I hope she has a chance to run with the title, because I think she would bring some great energy as a champion, as a world champion. She was a former TBS champion, but as a world champion, I think she's well deserved.
Now, when you had that title, who would you say was your toughest opponent when you had the title?
As cheesy as it may sound, probably myself. Probably myself. I might have been my toughest opponent. The mental struggles of like, do I belong here? Am I in the right place? Am I in the right spot? Am I really the one that can do this championship, this title, do it justice? And I had a few talks with some people, and I don't want to name any names right now, but I had a few talks with some of my colleagues, and they all backed me. They all gave me their blessing, that they were in my corner. And that was a big part of what I needed to hear. That gave me the strength to be like, to hold my head up high.
Now, obviously, when you were on that run with the title, you were paired a little bit with legendary Vicky Guerrero for a little bit of time.
Actually, that came a little later.
Okay, that
came a little bit later.
Well, what was it like working with her?
It was a lot of fun. She's a riot. She's a hoot. Our time together was nothing short of memorable and magnificent for myself. Unfortunately, things did not pan out, and she went her ways, and I had to move along. But our time together was absolutely memorable, and I cherish every moment of it.
Absolutely. And I want to go back for a second, because it just dawned on me, and I should have asked this beforehand. I'm sorry about not asking.
About the Eve Championship over my shoulder?
Yes, actually, I was going to ask you about that. How's it like holding the Eve title right now?
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. I did not even know this. So for those who may not be aware, Eve Pro Wrestling in the UK, I believe you call it. I call it the ook because it's a U and a K. So Eve Pro Wrestling, Eve Women's Wrestling in the ook is one of the oldest all-women's promotions outside of Japan. And for me to be the first trans woman to hold this championship is monumental. And I did not even know that. So to hold this is nothing. It's not anything I take lightly at all. There's a great lineage of champions.
Now, you mentioned, it's an all-women's company, and we know right now Mercedes is kind of on this run of trying to get titles.
You do have her blocked, yes. That was in my rider. I said I need her blocked. She cannot watch this program. I don't want her to see me with this title. I need her blocked straight away.
Yes, she is blocked. I don't think she's going to be seeing this.
Okay, very good, very good. As long as she does not see this, I've been ducking her, not like in a cowardly way. She's like a mosquito, just a title. I need a title. It's in your ear. It's absolutely rubbish.
And it's funny, Nyla, we actually have a fan of the show who's actually from the UK, and he's been a lifelong fan of the show, and he just wanted to give you, he just want to say,
David.
Yes.
Hello, David. Thank you so much. I'll big up you back, David.
But the other thing I wanted to bring up, obviously, you mentioned before, you're the first transgendered woman to hold that title. You're the first transgendered woman, to make it to a big promotion. Did that sort of give you more pressure in the beginning?
Absolutely. That was a big part of, especially when I won the AEW Women's Championship, a big part of my internal struggles and why I sought out the counsel of my coworkers, because the last thing I ever wanted to do is to disrespect anybody or spit in the face of anybody or force my way into some place I may not necessarily belong. So when I had their blessing, that really just made me feel like I was welcome.
Now, obviously, we see a lot more transgender, women now in wrestling. A lot of them, especially here in the States. What would you tell some of the transgender women who are on the independent scene, as somebody who's been through it and now where you are now?
Don't give up. Don't doubt yourself. Keep at it. On the wrestling side of things, drill those fundamentals. The fundamentals are the core. Drill those, but never doubt yourself, and be true, and just keep at it. You're going to have a lot of pushback. There's going to be a lot of haters, but as if video games have taught us anything, when you keep running into enemies, you're going the right way. So keep at it, keep pushing, keep striving, be seen, be loud, be heard. You're going to make a difference.
And it's funny because I'm, obviously because through the show, I work with a lot of wrestling companies here in the States. One of them is a company called Dynasty, which is in upstate New York.
Yes.
And they actually have a woman, transgendered women's wrestler by the name of Taylor One Shot, who actually said that you are her dream opponent. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Oh, I'm quite familiar with her. We've spoken very briefly. There's been a few talks to get things going, but schedules, our schedules haven't quite linked up, because that's the world of wrestling. That's the world of entertainment. Everybody's always busy, but I've no doubt at some point, sometime soon, things have got to sync up. That's just the laws of probability. Yeah.
Exactly. No, I totally get what you're saying. I wanted to bring that up because I know, like I said, she is a huge fan of yours and your work. And when I announced it on our Facebook page that you were coming on tonight, her first comment from her was dream opponent. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Oh, that's very sweet of her.
Now, let me ask you this now. Who from the AEW women's division that you think is going to have a big standout, especially come the second half of 2025?
Oh, that's a very good question. Let me think. I think I can safely place all my bets on Queen Aminata. She's well on the way. She's already standing out. Yeah. She's already doing it. But I think as time goes on in this next year, we're going into the fourth quarter of the year. I think top of the year, she's going to have a tremendous breakout moment. I see that for her. I want that for her. She deserves the world. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And she is definitely somebody who I can see having a big breakout. Now, is there somebody on the independents now that you have your eyes on that you would love to cross paths with at some point?
I've got to be honest with you. Right now, I'm solely focused on defending my Eve championship on November 7th against another Riho, someone who's making waves on the independents in the UK, as it were, and to her credit, a little bit around the world. Riho from the UK, she's already won 2 championships. Forgive me, they escaped me off the top of my head, but she is making a name for herself, and she made a statement after my match with Nightshade. She attacked me. First of all, let's give some credit to Nightshade, one of my toughest opponents by far. She was an amazing champion, tough opponent, lovely girl. But Riho attacked me after the match, completely uncalled for. It's my first time there. I was a guest, completely uncalled for. She attacks me. So yeah, I'm laser focused. I'm dialed in. And she's got a name that I won't soon forget. You know what I mean? Like, I'm dialed in on her. I've went to war with the Riho before. This is nothing new for me. So
it's what was going through your mind when all of a sudden Riho attacked you? You're probably sitting there going, I thought I beat you like a couple of years ago. What are you doing here?
No, completely different Riho. She's a little bit taller, but it was. I was well tired after a monstrous battle, emotional from winning the championship. The crowd at Big Penny Social, amazing crowd, and next thing you know, I'm on the floor. I'm like, what is this? What is happening? It was absolute madness.
No, I get what you're saying. I want to ask you though, right now, obviously, as a professional wrestler, everybody's still talking about. I'm not sure if you're aware of the whole Raja Jackson incident.
Of course I am. Yes.
I want to get your thoughts as a professional wrestler. What did you think about that whole situation when it unfolded?
I thought it was absolutely disgusting. It was completely uncalled for. It broke my heart, really, to see someone like that come into a place as a guest, having people place their trust in you, and you completely just piss all over it and do one of the most monstrous, disastrous things, quite frankly, I think I've ever seen. It was absolutely disgusting.
I know it's been the big topic. I know we've been talking about on this show now for the last couple of weeks since it happened, and I just find the whole thing, and I agree with you, I find the whole thing sickening. And this is coming from a fan perspective. This is somebody who, I'll say this right now, I've never set foot in a ring before, nor do I ever plan on, because I'm not that athletic. I'm far from athletic at all. And, when I saw what happened, I was sick to my stomach.
Yeah, it was there's a lot to it, but at the end of the day, I think we can anyone with a sane mind can look at it and say that he was completely at fault and deserves all the punishment, everything that he can be charge him with it. But I understand you felt disrespected. I understand maybe you wanted to humiliate him or whatever. Great, you did that when you slammed him down. Anything beyond that, completely uncalled for. Absolutely, completely uncalled for.
I totally get where you're coming with that, and I see exactly what you're saying with that. Nyla, I want to thank you for joining us, because I was saying this before you came on. We've been doing the show now for 4 years as of this November, and we've had on a lot of big names. We've had on Mark Henry, Barry Horowitz, Larry Zbyszko. So we've had, But the funny thing is, you are actually our biggest guest we've ever had on the show. So
no, you're taking the piss on me, mate. No, you said Mark Henry, and then you say I'm the big. No, that's rubbish. I'm not buying that at all. Mark Henry is the world's strongest man, former world champion, legend, absolute legend, mate. Like, come on now.
But like I said, it was an honor to have you on. My final question for you for this evening. Dream opponent.
My dream opponent. Freddy Krueger, does that count? He's a dream monster. No.
Hey, maybe a wrestling company can have Freddy Krueger. You never know.
Hey, Jeff Jarrett is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre champion, so anything can happen.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't really have a dream opponent per se. I want to wrestle more. I've had a little bit of a lull of a year. I don't think it's any secret. So my dream opponent right now is literally everyone. I just want to get out there. I want to wrestle more. I want to do more things. I want to tour Japan again. Love to get down to Mexico and just, of course, defend my beautiful Pro Wrestling Eve Ook Championship.
Now, before we let you go, where can the fans connect with you on social media, Nyla? And if you want to just promote the show again in November.
Absolutely. You can find me on virtually anything from Twitter to TikTok, at Native Beast, or I forgot my whole thing there. It's Native Beast Nyla Rose, isn't it? Yeah?
Yes.
I don't message myself, so why would I know it? I forget. But if you look for it, you'll see me. Most things have a blue check mark. And of course, I'll be at Big Penny Social back in London on November 7th. They do have a big show coming up. I believe it's this weekend. So check out Eve Pro Wrestling. See if you're over there. They have another show coming up. But I will be back November 7th.
And Nyla, I can't wait to see you back on AEW again. You're definitely missed there. But like I said, it was an honor to have you on. And I hope we can have you on again.
Well, thank you very much. It was a lovely time. Tell all your fans. Well, I guess I can tell them this is live, right?
Yeah, we're live.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. And to you, yes, of course, I will be back once I guess I win another championship. We can talk about that.
Absolutely. I would be honored to have you on. But Nyla, again, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it a lot.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of the show.
You too. Bye-bye. Guys, that was Nyla Rose. That I'm just blown away right now that we had Nyla Rose on the show. Guys, we're going to go to a quick break right now from a word from our friends over at Flow, Fantastic League of Wrestling. We'll be right back with reaction to Nyla Rose and some more wrestling talk. You are listening to the Around the Ropes radio show, or you are watching us right now on Facebook or YouTube. We'll be right back right after this. And we are back live right here on the Underdog Radio Show. Guys, if you just missed it, we just had AEW Superstar and Eve Women's Champion on Nyla Rose. Yes, guys, you heard me right. Nyla freaking Rose was just on with us. I want to go to the comment section here quickly because we got a lot of comments coming here. First, I want to go to Mark, who says, I'll be honest, she is somebody who I want WWE to sign one day. Yeah, I would too. I just don't know if they are because I don't know when her contract's up right now. Mark also says, yeah, David, that was unreal. Holy shit, man. David says, WTF, Jon, Nyla, effing Rose. Okay, I don't know what the heck just happened there. Yep, I showed that one. Mark says, holy shit, man, that was cool. I love how I turned around, and I love what Nyla was saying, by the way. First of all, guys, again, if you missed that interview, go back and listen to it. It was incredible having her on. And I think that's actually, if memory serves me right, that was actually the first time that I think a lot of you guys actually have heard from her. And I don't know why she had the UK accent. I mean, she definitely sounded a lot different with a UK accent, but I think she did a pretty good job, to say the least. Guys, again, coming up at 9:20, we'll be joined by Mike Skyros, talking some flex wrestling. I definitely want to get his thoughts on being called out by the one and only Garrett Holiday ahead of the Day of Reckoning for Immortal Championship Wrestling. Mark chimes in here and goes, it was cool how she's saying, yeah, Mark, you're definitely right on that. And that was the fact, first of all, that I sat here and said, she was our biggest guest. And yet she turned around to me and basically said rubbish because of the fact that of the other names I mentioned. Like I said, it was an honor, and she definitely wants to come back on, which I think is freaking awesome. And not only that, who knows now if more people from AEW could be coming on him. Just saying. But I want to get back now to Clash in Paris talk here for a second because we're right up to the top of the hour here in a minute, in a few minutes actually. And like I said, overall, Clash in Paris was okay. Did I think it was the greatest thing ever? No, not necessarily. There was quite a few things wrong with it. And we talked about it before, earlier in the show. It's because of her title that she's holding from the UK. Mark, you could be right on that. I have no idea. Favorite match? If I have to give a favorite match, that's tough. Actually, I'm going to ask you guys this question now. Clash in Paris, favorite match is what? Because to me, it's a little tough when we sit here and we're talking about that show. I mean, let me pull up the card quickly. Let me go over the card here pretty quickly. Like I said this before, I think one of the bigger issues of anything was, a lot of the matches just seemed very weak to me. And let me just pull up quickly the actual card itself. Well, first of all, I do want to give one shout out, by the way. The freaking set was amazing. First match we had was Roman Reigns defeated Bronson Reed in a singles match. I said this before and I'll say this again. I did not think so. We got two comments coming in here. Cena versus Logan from Mark, and David said the opening match, which was Roman and Bronson. David, I want to ask you something here. Do you think the right person won that match? Because I don't think so. I mean, and I said this before, and I'll reiterate this again. I understand why Roman won, because it was to set up what we saw later on after the match. But I think if the part afterwards didn't happen, then I think Roman winning is pointless. Roman is Teflon with this company already. Let's just call a spade here. Roman is freaking Teflon. And him winning doesn't help. But again, I understand why they had to do it, because they had to set up the beatdown after. They had to have a reason to have Roman off of TV now. So I get why. I just don't agree with it. It's weird. It's like I get why they did it. I just don't agree with why they did it, if that makes sense. Next, I'm going to just say this right now. You want to talk about a visual. If you get a chance, go back to this match, which was the tag title match between the Wyatt Six of Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis taking on the Street Profits. And we've said this a couple of times now on the show. The camera work is so much different now. The camera work is so spectacular right now. And there was the one camera shot where they're coming off of, I think it was coming off of the stage, and you're kind of looking out to the crowd, and you see all the fire from the lights. It was a sight to be seen. Now, as far as this match, I mean, yeah, the Wyatt Six had to win. Now, what do I see happening in regards to the other, with Street Profits? I see them breaking up. Mark says, I don't agree on why they had Roman winning either. Mark, I get that, and I kind of said this beforehand. It's not that I agree with you. I think Roman winning makes no sense because you had to give Bronson the win, but you had to have a reason for the beatdown at the end to write him off of TV, especially he's going to film the Street Fighter movie. So they had to give him a reason to be off of TV. And if he would have taken the loss and Bronson Reed would have won, then that beatdown would have made sense. So in that perspective, I get it. But when you look at overall, like I said before, and I'll reiterate this again, Mark. If the beatdown at the end didn't happen, then yes, Roman winning would make no sense. But since the beatdown happened, then yes, Roman winning makes perfect sense. I think we're going to see the end of the Street Profits here sooner rather than later. Yeah, David, that's what I just said. David says, I think it was the right decision to have Roman win. It made more sense with what happened to him. Yeah, exactly. Because again, if you wouldn't have done the beatdown at the end, and you wouldn't have done the angle at the end of the match, then Roman winning would have made no sense at all. But so we got that match. Then we have Becky Lynch defeat Nikki Bella for the IC title. I talked about it before. I thought that match was awful. I'm just gonna say it right now. I thought that match was terrible. And I said this before. I don't know if Nikki just has freaking ring rust at this point. I don't know what it is with her. Before we get into the other matches here, because we still got to talk about Rusev, Cena, and what we saw in the main event. We're gonna play again for you guys the Wilson's Corner, in case you guys didn't see it when I played it last hour. And on the other side of Wilson's Corner, we'll get more into what we saw at Clash in Paris with Rusev, Cena, and what we saw in the main event. We'll be right back right after this. You are listening to the Around the Ropes radio show on YouTube or Facebook, or, well, let me rephrase that. You're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, but you're catching the replay either on Odyssey, on Apple, Spotify, you name it. We'll be right back right after this. Take it away, Mr. Wilson.
Hello, welcome to Wilson's Corner with me, Kevin Wilson. Remember me? Hi. Okay, so all this streaming stuff that's going on right now with WWE, Netflix in January, Peacock's still a thing, and now the partnership with ESPN to go and broadcast all of the WWE PLEs, or pay-per-views in my mind because I'm old. It's gotten to a very ridiculous point. I'm kind of getting sick of this streaming stuff in general because it's just all costing way too much, and especially for wrestling fans nowadays. Like, when's enough going to be enough? When are we finally going to stand up and go, yep, nope, I'm done, see you later, I'm going to go back to the Pirate Bay or, something else, I don't know. But do you remember when they broadcast the WWE Network for the first time, when they put that out there? It was $10 a month, $9.99 a month. They kept peddling it every chance they got. JBL saying for $9.99 a month. Michael Cole saying for $9.99 a month. Jerry Lawler saying it. Everybody went and said for $9.99 a month you can go and have the WWE Network. You can have every single pay-per-view, every single bit of content. And it stayed at that $10 a month. It was great. I loved it. Yeah, they got bought by Peacock, and the network migrated over there. And it was, I haven't really had any issues with Peacock at all since they've migrated over. It's been good. Yeah, it cost me, now it's going to be $17 a month for the ad-free version. But at $10, $11 now for the ad-supported, it's really not bad to be on Peacock. But now in the latest bit with ESPN's direct-to-consumer app, where it's totally 100% free if you sign up with your cable provider. However, there's a few that don't have it right now. If you have DirecTV, if you have Xfinity, if you have Hulu Live TV, congratulations, you get the ESPN direct-to-consumer app for free. It's completely covered because you're good with your cable provider. Me, on the other hand, I got YouTube TV. I'm kind of SOL. Take it from me. YouTube TV for cable, so I can, realistically, it's to watch football. That's about it. But that's $83 a month. And on top of that, if you go and take Netflix, they got 3 different price tiers. You got the $8 ad-supported, then you got an $18 and a $25. I personally have the $25, but let's say I'm going to knock it down to the $18. So that's $18 a month, on top of the $83 a month. Then you got Peacock, which, for me, let's knock that one down. That's now $11 a month. Add on the $30 a month ESPN app because it's not covered under my cable provider of YouTube TV. I'm now looking at $142 a month just to be able to go and watch WWE programming every week. Between Netflix Monday Night Raw on Mondays, between NXT PLEs on Peacock, all the content that is currently still on Peacock of older shows and older promotions and older everything. And now I've got to go and add a completely new app to be able to go and watch a WWE PLE. Like, it's getting ridiculous at this point. I just needed to go and get that off of my chest about this whole streaming situation. It's just patently ridiculous that I gotta now pay almost $150 a month just to be able to watch pro wrestling. It almost sounds like, hey, remember when cable was about $150 a month and then it was the occasional $35 pay-per-view? That sounds like a dream. I'll be back next week with another riveting edition of Wilson's Corner with me, Kevin Wilson. And remember, folks, just like musician Brent Smith once said, this isn't goodbye, it's just see you next time.
And we are back live here on the Around the Ropes radio show. Now, again, I want to thank Kevin for doing that. It was, he'll be back on with us. All that stuff. But guys, we talked about this beforehand, and I want to just reiterate this one more time again before we first of all, we do have another match announced for Battleground Championship Wrestling. It was just announced during the commercial break. Wrong company. During the commercial break, as Nick Gage takes on Christian Ross. Again, guys, this all goes down October 25th, live from the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you're not in the area and you like to watch it, you definitely can. It's on Triller TV. Again, that starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Like I said beforehand, I know I kind of mentioned this when we didn't have a lot of people on. Around the Ropes Radio. Well, actually, not Around the Ropes. Well, Around the Ropes and Battleground War Room will be live from the venue hosting the pre-show. Start at 7 p.m., so you're not going to miss that. But also, I want to make another announcement. Happening next April 26th to be more precise. Now, if you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago, we had on, Ray and I had on a gentleman named Jack Patterson, who runs a company, he does a show once a year called Wrestling Against Cancer. Well, I can announce now that the 11th edition of Wrestling Against Cancer will be happening on April 26th, live from Florida. But not only that, I can also announce this right now. Around the Ropes will be live in Florida for this show. Now, guys, unfortunately, the show will not be live. You're going to have to get your tickets to go. It's for a good cause. Don't miss it. I don't know yet what we will be doing at the show, but I can confirm that Around the Ropes radio show will be live from Florida for Wrestling Against Cancer, the 11th edition. So, guys, definitely check out Wrestling Against Cancer. Check out Northwest Wrestling as well. And all that stuff. Because, like I said, a lot of big stuff coming for the show. And a lot more stuff's coming, but I can't even talk about it yet. I want to get back now to to what we saw at Clash in Paris. And that's Rusev and Sheamus. And Merck said, I like the Sheamus and Rusev match. David says, I think the best thing about Clash was the French crowd. They popped like hell. David, it's funny you bring that up because I feel like there's never been a bad PLE in Europe where the crowd wasn't into it. To me, every time they've always been into it. I think one of the best things is when the WWE does shows in Europe because you know damn well the crowd's going to be into it. The crowd is going to be into it. Because also people have to realize WWE doesn't go there that often anymore. I mean, I know they announced at the show that in January, they're doing like a 3-week tour of Europe ahead of the Rumble, because we all know the Rumbles could be in Saudi this year. But for the most part, they don't really do Europe that much. I remember years ago when Vince was still running the company, they used to do Europe, twice a year? He used to do it after Mania, and then around like the fall, like October, November is when they used to do it. So they don't go there that often. And when you don't go to a place that often, the crowd is gonna be into it, because who knows when. I mean, perfect example. Look at WWE when they go to like these these little towns in like Alabama, and all that stuff. I'm just saying Alabama in general, but when the WWE goes to a place and they only go there once in a blue moon, the crowd's gonna eat it up. And what I liked about this match with Sheamus and Rusev, it felt like a fight. It felt like these guys. I mean, you heard literally the best description I heard was, I think, earlier today on Busted Open, or yesterday on Busted Open. Sorry, and they were talking about it. And Nick Nemeth turned around and said how you heard the meat slapping. I'm going to repeat that again. You heard the meat slapping. It is insane how those two guys, and those two guys are not small guys. Let's call a spade here. Those guys are big dudes. And yeah. David chimes in here, going back to the crowd comment here for a second. He goes, I think it's because it's not constant, and it's every so often the WWE comes over to the UK and the rest of Europe. Yeah, David, I completely agree with you. The European crowds, I'm going to say this right now, for international crowds are probably my favorite crowds. Because if you guys remember last year when WWE did Backlash, and this was the start of the TKO era, and they were in France. And if you guys remember, we had the main event of Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. I think they went another 2 minutes of them just singing. You don't see what we see in Paris, in Belgium, in England. You don't see that in like a Boston, a Philly, a New York, Los Angeles, Vegas. You don't see that in the States because it's so constant. And that's half the issue. I'm not saying WWE is not going to run shows anymore in the States, but I think the problem is you can't turn around and tell me that, you can't turn around and tell me that anymore. I think it's just, that's the best way to phrase it right now. But like I said, we have Cena and Logan. I like this match. I thought there was a lot of callbacks in it. We mentioned Nick Nemeth before. Baron Corbin got mentioned in this match. Cesaro got mentioned in this match. And if you heard Jon afterwards, he basically made the point. I see where he's coming from. He only has 8 appearances left, which is insane to think. And when you look at the fact that he has 8 appearances left, and look at how many more guys he could be facing, he's not going to be able to get all those 8 guys together. All those guys in 8 more appearances. So this is his way of saying thank you. And, it's his way of saying thank you to a Cesaro, to a Baron Corbin, to an AJ Styles, is by doing stuff like this. And not tonight so much, but when Ray comes back next week, we'll talk about it a little bit more. I think we kind of talked about it last week, but as far as who can be seen as last opponent, because we all know it's going to be, I think, in December. Despite Michael Cole saying that it was going to be in January, it's going to be in December. Because I think they're doing it at a Saturday night's main event, I think, from what I heard. Now, who gets that honor? I've said this before. I think if it's anybody, I would, because I know a lot of people are saying, it should be a Gunther. How does that help him? Seriously, how would Gunther being Cena's last opponent help him? The guy's over already. I think when you look at it, I've said this for a while, I think a Braun Breaker a Carmelo Hayes. I think Carmelo Hayes would probably make the most sense of any of them, because not only the fact is he a young guy, you can build him up as a star. He's from the Massachusetts area. He's from that area. So I think he's definitely a guy who could be seen as last opponent. Braun Breaker, I think, is another one who I think you give it to Braun Breaker. And I think also what has to happen, and I keep saying this, Cena has to lose his final match. He has to. Unless he's going to have a phenomenal showing from the other guy, I don't know if, let's say you put it with a Braun Breaker, with Carmelo Hayes, and if Cena wins, is that really going to help them? I think Cena, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, I think Cena has to lose his final match. Because that's the only way you're going to put somebody over. But, like I said, Logan Paul has really grown on me in the last couple of years. I think I think eventually I would love to, and I've heard a lot of people say this and I agree with them, I would love to have eventually Logan Paul, Bad Bunny down the road, because we always talk about celebrities, and we spoke about this a couple weeks ago when Billy was on with us, and we were saying about, celebrities' involvement with pro wrestling, and that was, if you remember, that was ahead of Jelly Roll at SummerSlam. And when you look at, celebrities, we've seen some celebrities who have been absolute dog shit, let's call a spade here, Snooki. But you have guys like Logan Paul, guys like Bad Bunny, Jelly Roll, who actually put the work in. And it's an amazing thing what we're seeing here. So I could definitely see Logan Paul eventually going for another title. Is it going to be for the World Heavyweight title? Depends on what happens. Could I see Logan Paul eventually maybe going down the road holding that World Heavyweight title? Yeah. I don't think you're going to have him take it off of Seth. No, not off of Seth. I think the only way you do that is you have to have a babyface take the belt off of Seth first, and then you get it set up where then Logan can take the belt off of them. Because I think Logan with that belt would do massive positivity for the WWE. Massive positivity. I mean, we always talk about the crossover appeal, and there's the crossover appeal right there. Then we had the main event. Obviously, we talked about before, Fatal 4-Way, Jey Uso, CM Punk, LA Knight, and Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. It was a good match, don't get me wrong. I kind of expected that What's-His-Face was going to, that Seth was going to win. I kind of had a feeling we were going to get the fourth person. Becky being in it makes perfect sense, because now, when we said this at the top of the show, you can set up easily what should be the main event of WrestlePalooza on September 20th. Without a doubt. There's no other way you can. You would be foolish not to. But we should be joined by Mike Skyros in the next 2 minutes. So we're going to go back to a quick word from our friends over at Flow. And then hopefully Mike will be on with us and we can talk to Mike, because believe me, there's a lot of stuff I want to get to with Mike. Guys, again, if you just joined us, I want to thank everybody who's watching the show tonight. If you missed our interview before, we had Nyla Rose on from AEW. Definitely go back and listen to it. It was incredible to have her on. But guys, again, quick word from our friends over at Flow, and then we'll be right back with more wrestling talk. You're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, or catching us on Odyssey and all that stuff. We'll be right back right after this.
Their opponents' hopes, like legends under the lights. In this arena, we're
And we are back live here on the Around the Ropes radio show. Guys, definitely check us, check out us on YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. Mike will be on with us in a matter of moments here. Guys, also, I want to send a shout out, by the way, before I forget. I want to send a shout out to a good friend of the show, sponsor of the show, Motor Oil Coffee. Now, if you guys remember back probably about a year ago or so, we had our own coffee with them. Some of the best coffee I've ever had. We are back working with them again. In the next couple of weeks, we will have some information for you guys as far as, deals and specialty coffees that if you're up in the Albany Capital Region area, you can definitely go check them out. Again, guys, if you're in the Capital Region area, definitely go check out Motor Oil Coffee. I will hold that coffee against a Dunkin' or a 7-Eleven any day of the week. We had the Sumatra blend coffee, and the one thing we all said about it, myself, Ryan, and the other guys who were part of the show at the time, we all said it. You didn't get jitters with that. And a lot of times, when you drink coffee, you get the jitters. Not with Motor Oil Coffee. So guys, definitely go check out Motor Oil Coffee with convenient locations in the Albany area, Schenectady area, or go check them out on Facebook or YouTube actually. I don't know if they have a YouTube page. I think they do. But go check them out on Facebook. Go check them out. Good friends of the show. And definitely go try yourself some good Motor Oil Coffee. Guys, again, while we're waiting for Mike Skyros to come on, I just want to reiterate again what we have coming up independent wrestling-wise. And I guess we'll do Flex Wrestling now while we're sitting here for a second. Matic, we had on the show a couple days ago, takes on Colin Delaney. Again, the show happens on Friday, September 26th from the Mud Creek Bison Ranch. 613, address is right there. Show starts at 7 p.m. General admission is only $20. We also have TJ Epics taking on Carmelo Lee. We also have HC Logue taking on Price Pure Gold. And we also have the team of Johnny Cashmere and JP Grayson taking on, I would say, and a lot of people would agree with me on this, one of the more prolific tag teams up in the upstate New York area in High Seas. So definitely check them out. Again, that happens Friday, September 26th, live from the Mud Creek Bison Ranch. That's 6130 Robbie Road in Savannah, New York. Again, showtime is at 7 p.m. and admission is $20. And guys, I've said this a lot on the show that you look at, we always talk about this, with ticket prices. And we talk about this, I feel like every week we talk about this. Ticket prices right now in WWE are insane. We talked about this last week, how for WrestleMania 42, you can get a single front row seat, I think hard cam side. Where you're looking at where, not hard cam, but, it picks you up on hard cam for about $70,000. It's insane. It's insane how these ticket prices are getting astronomically ridiculous. But yet you have companies like Flex, like Bree Combination, like Battleground, that are giving you guys basically wrestling for 3, 4, 5 quarters of that. I mean, let's just call a spade on this one. I mean, yes, granted, Flex Wrestling, you're not getting, the John Cena's, but you're gonna have guys who have been on TV already or who should be on TV already. Quickly over in Battleground, like I said, we are waiting for our guest right now, Mike Skyros. For the World Heavyweight title, Crowbar takes on Gangrel. We're also going to see in action Drake Younger take on Shane Mercer for the BCW Philadelphia Street Fight Championship. In tag team action, the Powers of Pain take on Blackout. Masada takes on Too Cold Scorpio. Phil Insane takes on Matt Tremont. And Alvin Alvarez takes on Danny Doran. But guys, he's in the room right now, so let me throw the graphic up right now. We had his opponent on a couple of weeks ago, and he cut a very interesting promo. He's also been called out by quite a few guys, so we're definitely going to talk to him about it. Returning to the show, friend of the show, the one, the only, Mike Skyros. Mike, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here, John. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad to get you back on here. It seems like a lot of wrestlers in the upstate New York area love to have your name in their mouth.
A lot of people have opinions on me, and I can make a joke off of that, but I'll let the audience figure that one out. And I take that as a compliment that I'm doing something right, that I'm a person that's being talked about like that.
Well, before we get into what's going on with Flex Wrestling, I want to get into Immortal here. Because a couple of days ago, you were called out by Garrett Holiday for one last time at Day of Reckoning. Thoughts, what's going through your head that he called you out once again?
Well, John, I'll give you a little scoop. There's going to be a promo dropping tomorrow morning. It's going to be very short. It's going to be very sweet. And the message is going to be very simple, is that I accept what's going through my head. We talked not too long ago about this match. It was coming up in Rome, I believe.
Yes.
And I've had the better part of a year dealing with Garrett Holiday and dealing with the repercussions of Garrett Holiday turning his back on me, stealing my championship, me causing him to lose his championship. All the different people that have been involved in this, we've had 7 or 8 different people be in and out of this tangled web that Garrett Holiday and I have continued to weave. And I think it's very simple. Right now, Immortal is not big enough for the two of us. One of us has to stay. One of us has to go. So we're going to settle it. And when it's settled, you're probably not going to see one of us for a very long time. And sounds pretty good to me.
So let me ask you this now. Obviously, we know Shane won the title at the last show. And I know, you guys both have your eyes on it. Do you feel like at this point, you have to get past Garrett before you go back for that title again? Almost get the monkey off your back?
Yes, you nailed it. Because it's no secret. If Garrett were to go for the title again, I would do everything in my power to make sure he doesn't get his hands on it. And I'm sure it'd be the same way if I were to go for the title. Congrats to Shane, and I really mean that. He's worked very hard. He's had a lot of doors open for him, but that's the way wrestling works. The people that you're close to, whether it be friends, family, peers, otherwise, they open doors for you, and it is up to you to walk through them. I would do the same things if I were him. If I had someone to give me a connection into the Heart Dungeon, I would do that. And he's worked very hard to stay there and to improve. If you watch his wrestling, he's improved tremendously because he's working with some of the best to ever do it. And he comes into Immortal and he gets his title shot, and the people have asked for him. That's obvious. You can hear it. He's been doing a lot of things right to get that sort of response from the crowd. And yes, I provided a little assist to make sure that he left with the belt, but he still had to pick up the win on his own, and I commend him for that. There will be a time where maybe if Shane is able to hold on to the belt, where our paths will cross, and we'll have to see who the better man is. But for now, I hope he enjoys it.
So it's safe to say that this whole issue with Garrett is bigger than the title. That it's gotten personal. I know you mentioned, last time you were on with us, that it's bigger than the title. Is that fair to say?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I know you've been wrestling now for a while. Out of any rivalry you've had, is this the most personal rivalry you've ever had?
I think so. Like, there are a couple that come to mind. When it was myself and the Syracuse guys versus Excite, that was pretty personal for a bit because it reflected a lot of things that myself and other people were feeling at the time. When it was, I'm going back years now, but myself versus a wrestler named Terrell Kenneth, who was a guy who was extremely talented, that was very personal at the time. But there's something different about this with Garrett and I, because he was someone I never would have guessed this from. And the fact that he involved someone like Sean, that we've had our ups and downs, but at that point I considered Sean a friend. He involved David Coles, who is someone that I helped train, and I played a huge hand in training and getting him into Immortal at all. He has David Coles on his side. So it's involving that many pieces for the length of time, them cutting my hair in the ring, him stealing my title, all those things together, it's hard for me to say that it's anything else.
No, I get that. First of all, I give you props on the face paint now that you're going with. I give you a lot of credit for that. How long does that take you beforehand with all that face paint?
It depends on what. It depends on a couple different factors. So I had to do it a few times. The first time I did it myself. So I have a friend who does it professionally, and they applied it a few different times, and that took a little bit longer. But the the paint and the design you've seen recently has been my doing. I'd say if I do it right, it takes me like 15, 20 minutes. But when we did the outdoor show under the tent at Immortal, I had to do that like in the dark with like my cell phone as a mirror, like everything backwards. That took a little bit longer. That was a little bit of a pain. But I mean, it's twofold. One, there are a lot of guys I looked up to that use the paint. It's no secret I'm a big Muta fan. I'm a big Sting fan. I'm a big Jeff Hardy fan. And on top of that, I cut my hair. That was my image for a very long time. So I was subconsciously looking for, okay, what's going to be the next thing that I feel like is me? What can I present that makes people stop going, oh, that's weird, that's different, that's interesting. And not everyone likes it. That's fine. People are entitled to their opinion, but I think it at the very least stops you in your tracks and makes you take a second look, which is all I'm looking for. And I think people take that extra second to look at what I'm doing. I give them something to keep looking even further.
Well, I get what you're saying. And you always hear wrestlers say, especially guys who've been at this for like 20, 30 years, that they have to evolve. Do you feel like this is basically your way of evolving your character almost?
Yes, absolutely. And the fun part is I kind of stumbled into it. I was going to do it as a one-off way back in November at Immortal. And I had so much fun with it that I'm like, okay, there's a lot of possibilities here. What can I do with this? The tough part now is seeing where it goes next, where it can, like you said, evolve, where I can go from there. And doing that while being respectful towards the people that came before me and my peers. I'm very aware of people who do the face paint, whether that be guys like Finn Balor, who is very famous for it, or even guys on the independents. There are guys like Arez and Dark STG and others that I'm sure are all of the independents that do it. And I very much respect what they've built for themselves off of it. And I don't want to bite off of anyone's stuff. I don't want to steal from anyone. I want to make it my own and allow them to have their own space to be creative and do their own thing without me out here in New York kind of biting their style. So that's what I've been navigating lately with it, but it's been fun.
And I totally get what you're saying. Before we get into Flex, and I want to definitely get, because I saw the promo that you cut, and I definitely have some questions with that. As a wrestler, and we had Nyla Rose on earlier this evening. I asked her this question. I want to ask you this question as well. You obviously heard about the Raja Jackson incident, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the wrestler's perspective, what are your thoughts on that whole incident?
So, first thing I want to say too is I hope that Stu makes a full recovery. Took a lot of shots. Especially when you are defenseless and unconscious already, it does a lot of damage. That's not good for your brain. There's so much that can go on with that. So, first of all, well wishes to him. Secondly, I think everyone involved is guilty to some degree. I believe Raja is the most guilty. He took a deliberate action to throw 20 punches at an unconscious man. And when you are someone who is a trained fighter like that, you have to be more responsible, and you certainly have to be more aware of what you're doing. At this point, it's up to the authorities, police, all that to decide what goes on further. So it doesn't really, we can all have our opinions, but that dude's going to do some sort of time. Like, I don't care how much money he's got, who his father is, he committed a crime. So I'd be very surprised if he's not behind bars.
No, and then just to bring this up, because before we get into what you have come up with Flex, there was a company in San Diego, actually, that apparently booked him for a show.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, why?
That you hear the phrase, "There's no such thing as bad publicity." I think that's true for the most part, but I don't see how anyone thought that was a good idea. If you're trying to make a headline, you made it, but the headline you made is you're an idiot and no one's going to want to associate with you. I know I've seen photographers, I've seen wrestlers, I've seen all sorts of other people, production media, podcasts, etc. Be like, I want nothing to do with this promotion, and some people even going to the extent of, if you work for this promotion, I will not photograph you, I will not work with you in any means. And yeah, that extremely boneheaded decision on my part.
I saw that and I was like, and I agree with you. You always hear the thing of, there's no such thing as bad publicity, but it's like, okay, do you want to bring somebody in who did what they did? Everybody saw it.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't going to bring him in. They were just using it to get a cheap pop, but they're dumb decision.
Yeah, no, but I want to get back into the positivity of independent wrestling, and we got Flex Wrestling coming up, September 26th, and I've had on quite a few. I think at this point I pretty much have had on everybody who's on the card, except for the tag teams. I have not had either tag team on yet, so hopefully that's to come soon. But obviously, we had your opponent on, Chael Connors.
Yes, I watched it.
What'd you think of what he had to say? And, I guess, this is your time to kind of retort back to him with what he said.
Yeah, so I have watched, I think there's one or two that I haven't watched yet, but I've watched most of your interviews leading up to this Flex Wrestling event because I'm interested to see what the landscape is. I'm interested to see what my competition is up to. And of course, I'm interested in what Chael is thinking and what Chael has to say. And it's been very strange because I like my pro wrestlers that talk trash. And if you watch any of my promos, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point, but I like to talk trash too. It's fun. I think two wrestlers going out there for the most part and being like, "Oh, I respect you too. You're such a nice guy. You carry all your groceries in one trip. You have old ladies across the street. That's lame." I want two people that have an issue with each other, and I don't hate Chael Connors. I don't, I wouldn't, if he was on fire, I wouldn't just watch him burn. But when it comes to that, he's someone who's in my way. Flex Wrestling's a brand new company. And you've been asking this question a lot. What is Flex Wrestling going to do to stand out in the upstate New York independent wrestling landscape? I think it's been a group effort starting at the top with Flex Wrestling that its professionalism is taking things seriously. It's checking all the boxes in terms of having sponsors, having promos, doing interviews like this, contacting you to help us promote the show, which thank you. And really full speed ahead to do everything we can to get the name out about this show and to make this show as cool and as big as it can be. So when it comes back to Chael and what he said, the thing that stuck out to me was he said, when you're in a match with me, you are going to get pushed. And he's absolutely right. Anybody I wrestle, I go out of my way to make you work hard, to make you work for it. Not even to say that I'm anyone special, that you need to work hard for me because I've been around or I've done this. No, the people in the audience deserve it. The people in the audience deserve us not to run in cruise control for the match. A dollar is harder and harder to earn every day. And I don't want to go out. If I'm going to a wrestling show and I'm buying a ticket, I want to see two guys that are wrestling like it's the last match they're ever going to have. People that are wrestling like they want it, like they're going to go balls to the wall and put together everything they can to have the best match they can. And that's why I push people. That's why I push him. And the people that I think are talented, whether we're friends, whether you like me, don't like me, whatever, I'm going to push you if I think you're good, and I'm going to see what I can get out of you. And, Chael and I don't hate him. I don't think he hates me. We're not hanging out at the weekends. We're not sending Christmas cards. We're not taking photos in the locker room. But I'm going to push him because I think very highly of him, and I think he's a dude that he could really use this as a launching pad to be a real big time player in the state. He's a guy that's thought of very highly by his peers, by the fans, as a guy like, oh, cool, we like seeing him. He's athletic, but I really think he could be one of those 5, 6 guys in the state that's like the guy that when you look at someone like, say, Sean Carr or Bill Collier or Jay Freddy or Colin, like these are guys that are at the top of the card, and he could be one of those guys. So I'm going to push.
I definitely can see that. And like I said, I've seen you wrestle hundreds of times now, and I know what you can do. I mean, my match I always go back with you is you and Facade a couple of years ago at the in Global Skill. I said it then, I'll say it again. That was match of the night, match of the year. Because you guys took each other. You're welcome. You guys took each other to the limit. And, I know you kind of answered one of my questions already, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But this was brought up in the Matic interview, and I want to ask you this as well. If Flex were to introduce a title, not saying, that's going to happen now, but maybe sometime next year they're going to introduce a title, how important to you would it be to become the inaugural Flex heavyweight champion?
It's very important for me. I will preface this by saying I've worked very hard. A lot of guys have worked very hard, but I've worked very hard, and I'm very confident. I believe I have the track record to show that I have the right to be confident in what I can do. And I work very hard to continue to improve and to show that I'm that guy. I want to be the champion because it validates everything I say about myself. And I look up and down the roster, and there's a lot of very good guys, but I don't think any of them can really beat me at my best. I don't think any of them, when it comes to being a champion, I think I'm the guy. I think that's why when I talk about being in the main event, it should be me in the main event. Anyone else who thinks that they're the main event or they're the top guy at Flex, I dare them to come take it from me. And if they come take it from me, bravo, good for you. But I think I'm that guy, and I think I can be that guy for Flex, and I'm going to do everything in my power that's within my control to be that guy. So, it's very important to me, and I dare anyone in that locker room to prove me wrong.
Now, you mentioned your promos before, and I want to kind of dive into that for a second. The one that you just cut, unfortunately, I couldn't get a chance to play it live here, but what was kind of the message you were kind of sending out in that one? Because it seemed like you were trying to give a message, but I couldn't really figure out what the message was.
It's tough because, I don't want to go as far as to say that I should tell people how to live their lives or my philosophy on wrestling is correct, but I do feel like there's validity to what I'm saying in the sense that I think a lot of the guys in wrestling and a lot of the guys that may have watched that promo and didn't like what I had to say, they're working hard. They love wrestling, and they're doing what they think is fun and entertaining for the other wrestlers. They're working for the other wrestlers. They are trying to get pops and laughs and whatever else and smiles and likes and social media interactions from the other wrestlers instead of why we're here, which is for the fans. I don't even like a lot of the fans. Like, let's be honest. I don't want to be friends with a lot of the fans. But I respect that you spend your money to see me, and you deserve me and everyone else in that locker room to work hard for you instead of it's a weird, like, people treat it like a social club now. It's not a social club. It's wrestling. So the phrase I used at the beginning of it is people say wrestling is supposed to be fun, like it's a fact. No, it's not. Wrestling is supposed to make money. Wrestling is supposed to sell tickets. It's a form of entertainment. And like any other entertainment, the goal is to get people in the seats. How do you do that? By being the best, by giving the people what they want, by working hard, not by doing whatever it is with other people in the locker room, not by focusing on being friends or any of that stuff. I have my friends in wrestling. I'm very fortunate to have met a lot of cool people from wrestling and adjacent to wrestling. Wrestlers, cameramen, production people, you fans, like I've met a lot of cool people, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to be the best. I'm here to sell the most tickets I can. If I fail, I fail. But I just think that you are disrespecting not only the fans, the other people in the locker room, and I take it personally when you are working to have fun and goof off and do all the social stuff as opposed to being the best, as opposed to putting on the best show possible for the fans. That's how I feel.
Well, it's funny because last week, I think it was last week, yeah, last week on the show, not that I had a promo like you cut, but I had a similar type of rant. And the rant I had was basically talking about how I feel like wrestlers who are given a championship don't do the simplest thing. And it kind of goes in line with what you were saying about how, wrestlers feel like it's a social club and it's like, they're playing in the McDonald's play area almost.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I kind of had a thing on the show last week when I was saying how if you're the champion of a company, and I don't care what independent company you are, and somebody asks you, oh, go do a podcast, I feel like it shouldn't be a struggle, because then what's going to happen when you make it to a WWE or an AEW or Ring of Honor and they tell you, oh, before I know we had, let's say Raw, for example. Oh, we're going to fly you out to Dallas for Monday Night Raw on Saturday because we want you to do media Sunday and Monday. What are you going to tell them? No?
Exactly. And WWE, look, Gabe Sapolsky's out here doing seminars, and he's giving you the cheat codes for what WWE is looking for. WWE is looking for professionals. It doesn't mean that you can't present something that's fun for the fans, that you can't be an entertaining wrestler. Like, off the top of my head, someone like, I don't know, like even Suzuki, someone sees as like extremely serious, and he's a serious pro, but he does a lot of like wild, like fun, entertaining, sometimes funny stuff. You can be fun and entertaining without being like, I don't know, without fucking around.
Yeah.
People want professionals. People don't want people that are goofs that fuck around, that don't take this seriously. They want people that are going to entertain the paying customer, and there are things that worked for 100 years, and they're just, I don't know. I'm trying not to go on a rant here, but I think you see where I'm coming from.
I see where you're going, but my whole thing is, I think what I was kind of hinting at is the wrestlers who, I mean, yes, granted, if you're in this industry, to just be an independent wrestler, then okay, fine, treat it like that. But I don't think many people who, and again, I'm just speaking as a fan, so you can tell me if I'm wrong on this. A lot of people who are in this industry are in this independent wrestling world to eventually make it to a WWE, an AEW, to one of the bigger companies. So to me, it's like you have opportunities to do. I'm not saying just because I have a show. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah,
I think that's, and it boggles my mind. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there's a lot that comes with it, and it's weird to me. Like, I understand that the in-ring part of it is very important, but there's so much that goes into. There are so many things you can do to promote yourself, promote the show, and to make people know more about you, make people get more invested in what you're presenting as a wrestler, and people just don't do it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But Mike, I want to, it's always a blast having you on.
Yeah.
And you're always welcome to come on whenever you want. The door's always open.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, obviously, if you want to just promote again what you have coming up, by all means, the floor is yours.
Yes. So, Immortal Championship Wrestling that we talked about at the beginning of the show, September 13th, Cobleskill at the Fairgrounds, where we were back when we had Teddy Long on the show. And we are going to finish this chapter. Well, we're going to finish this book between myself and Garrett Holiday. Like I said, Immortal's not big enough for both of us. One's got to stay. One's got to go. No holds barred. You want to see that. You don't want to miss that. And hopefully I can finish this fight and move on with my life. September 26th, Flex Wrestling. That's why we're here. That's what we're talking about. Big debut show. We've got Rhino on the card. We've got Sean Carr on the card. We've got HC Loke. We've got Matic. We've got Price Pure Gold. We've got Primetime. We've got Mike Skyros. We've got Chael Connors in the main event, as it should be. And we're going to go balls to the wall with all these sponsors, with all this cool Bison Ranch we're going to be at, with all this branding we've done, all this promotion we've done. And that day's coming up real quick. And we get the chance to pay off all this work we've done, all this work that all these people have done to make this show happen. We get the chance to put on the show and show you what all the talk has been about. So if you want to find me otherwise by myself, Mike Skyros on all social medias. I'm easy to find. I'm easy to get a hold of. Just don't be a jerk.
Absolutely. And Mike, one last thing before I let you run. I'm very fortunate that I became a small spoke on the wheel for Flex Wrestling, and I became a small part, and having all you guys on have been incredible, and I can't wait to see. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be there live. I'll have to watch it, however they stream it. But like I said, I can't wait to see the show. Just get me to September 26th at this point. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. But Mike, again, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it, and definitely have you on soon again.
All right. If you ever need me to talk trash about anyone, I always got something to say.
Absolutely. All right, Mike, talk to you soon.
Peace.
All right. Guys, that was Mike Skyros. Again, guys, we had a lot of fun tonight. I want to thank Nyla Rose for joining us. That was an amazing interview. I want to thank Mike Skyros as well. Quickly, one more time, I'll run through what we have coming up with Battleground. It was announced earlier tonight, Alvin Alvarez will be taking on Danny Dory. Again, guys, this all goes down October 25th. Start time is 7:30 p.m. If you're not in the Philly area, definitely go to Triller TV to watch it. Phil Insane takes on Matt Tremont in a Halloween House of Horrors match. We also have Masada taking on Too Cold Scorpio. The Powers of Pain take on Blackout. And we're also going to have on the line the BCW Philadelphia Street Fight Championship as Drake Younger defends the title against Shane Mercer. And in the main event, I don't know if this is the first time they're actually fighting. I got to look that up. Crowbar, who is your new BCW World Champion, takes on Gangrel. Also was announced earlier tonight. We don't have the graphic for it as of right now. Nick Gage takes on Christian Ross. For Flex Wrestling, we talked about this before, Johnny Cashmere and JP Grayson taking on the team of High Seas. HC Loke takes on Price Pure Gold. TJ Epics takes on Carmelo Lee. Chael Connors takes on our guest we just had on before, Mike Skyros. And to wrap it up, Matic takes on Colin Delaney. Guys, again, I appreciate everybody who watched the show tonight. It means a lot. You can see me live tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, for the debut of I-86 After Dark, where we talk all things sports from Buffalo to Long Island and all that in between. Guys, we have that coming up Thursday. Wrestling around the BCW world, so definitely have that coming up. And then, guys, next Monday we're back with another Battleground War Room as it's heating up for October, so you're not going to want to miss that. Guys, again, if you missed tonight's show, go back to our YouTube page, go back to our Facebook page. You can find us there. If you want to listen to the show and you can't watch the show, we also have that option as well. Go to Spotify, go to Apple Music, go to Apple Podcasts, go to iHeartRadio, go to wherever you get your podcast, search the all-new ATR Network. Not only can you get Around the Ropes on there, but you can also get Around the BCW World, and you can also get the Battleground War Room. But, guys, we are out of here. Again, guys, I appreciate everybody who watched us. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same channel. Good night, guys.